Hey there, so today I'm reacting to Lizzy Grant, aka Lana Del Rey, which is technically the debut album of Lana Del Rey. I don't know if it's officially considered her debut or not. So the reason that I want to react to this album is that I was thinking about doing a video where I ranked every Lana song, and I actually haven't heard this album all the way through. I have heard a couple of tracks, which we'll get into later. But yeah, I thought that I should probably listen to this album before I do that video. Obviously, if I'm gonna be ranking the songs, I need to have heard the songs. So I'm actually not completely sure what the backstory behind this album is. I believe that it was available to purchase on iTunes for a while, and then once the Born to Die era started, it was taken down. I think that's what happened, but I'm not totally sure. I'm also a little bit confused about the title because I know that she used to go by Lizzy Grant. I don't know why it's called Lizzy Grant, aka Lana Del Rey. I'm assuming that it's around the time where she switched stage names, but I don't understand why you would use both. And also, I don't understand why Ray is spelled differently in the album name than it is in her name now. It's a bit of a confusing situation. I feel like putting an album out under two different names is an interesting choice. Anyways, I am not going to ramble on for any longer. Let's just get straight into it. The first track is Kill Kill, which I have already heard.
Bound up the stairs, I'm in the shower. Do you know I'm going to leave you?
So I do like this song. I feel like it definitely fits in with her whole early aesthetic. I also love how retro sounding the instrumentation is. It suits her really well. Yeah, this does feel very Lana Del Rey, but you can tell that it's not fully developed yet. It is a good song, I like it, but you can also definitely tell that she's improved over the years. It's not like a mind-blowing track for her or anything, but it was nice. I enjoyed it. I liked that song a fair amount. Alright, this is Queen of the Gas Station. She has such an interesting way of pronouncing words sometimes. This is definitely a lot more upbeat and poppier than a lot of the stuff she made after this. I like it, but again, it just feels like it's a little underdeveloped, which is exactly what I was expecting from this album. I went into this fully knowing that that would be the case. I would also say that the production sounds a little dated, and also you can tell it's a lot lower budget than Born to Die, which obviously makes sense. But yeah, the production is just not quite up to the standard that it usually is with her. By the way, I feel like I should mention that I'm going into this album fully knowing that it's not going to be her best or anything. I feel like I forgot to mention that in the beginning. I'm not expecting to be mind blown by this album or anything. I'm more just listening to it for curiosity's sake. So if I'm criticizing the album, I'm not criticizing her. I fully expect this to not be her best work. Obviously, since she went back and kind of unreleased it herself, it's obviously not up to her standards, so I'm not judging her for this album. Again, I'm just curious. I just want to hear it. This is Oh Say Can You See. This is pretty.
The nighttime is almost ours.
song is really pretty. I also love the instruments on this one as well. I almost feel like the lower production value actually helps this song out. It's kind of charming. It feels more vulnerable or like intimate. It's kind of like her older homemade music videos. It's kind of charming that it's not quite perfect. You know I'm gonna mention the strings. I really like this song. This is definitely the highlight for me so far. I have no idea what it's about, but it sounds really pretty. Alright, this is Gramma, Blue Ribbon Sparkler Trailer Heaven. It's a title. Yeah, this song is definitely unsettling. Obviously on purpose. I feel like it's achieving what it wants to achieve. Don't you know you don't need a thing? Trouble is what feels good to me. Crazy ass since I was 3. Now I'm out to get you. I don't know how I feel about this song right now. It has such a unique vibe to it. I don't even know what it is about this song that's making it feel so creepy. But it feels creepy. I think it's just the way she's singing it so flatly. It's really unsettling. Yeah, this is definitely interesting. I don't know how I feel about it, but I do know that it's interesting. Also, those little jewelry box sounding bells in the background are so creepy. Oh my god. Okay, next is 4K Part 2. This definitely feels very grunge inspired. This is another song that I think is helped by the fact that it sounds a little lo-fi. I do think that it adds to the charm here too. I like this one too. This one and Oh Say Can You See are definitely the highlights for me so far. Yeah, I really like that track. I will say I am liking some of these songs more than I thought I would. It's definitely nowhere near her best or anything, but I am actually getting more out of this than I expected to. This next song is Jump. This feels like it's going to be stuck in my head for a long time. Again, this is very upbeat and conventionally poppy for her. This album has such an interesting vibe to it that I don't know how to describe. I just find this really interesting. Because it's Lana Del Rey, but it's not quite Lana Del Rey. This is really, it feels really unique. Like, this whole album just has such an unsettling vibe to it, and I know it's on purpose. It's just, I don't know, I feel like I've never heard anything that makes me feel quite like this. This is Mermaid Motel.
Maybe we could go to Coney Island. Maybe I could sing the national anthem.
What is going on here?
Sweater.
So you know how I just said this album is unsettling? Turn that up to 100% unsettling. Oh my god, I cannot get a grasp on this song. What the fuck is going on? Okay, I need a minute. Hold on, I need to pause. Okay, this certainly is a song. It sure is music. And you certainly can't call it boring. I will give it that. What is this song?
Heavy metal hour on TV.
What is this accent? What's going on?
Diamond. I am. You call me lavender.
Okay.
Call me sunshine.
I don't know what to say right now. You know how I said I've never heard anything that makes me feel like this before? That definitely applies here.
Maybe we could go to Coney Island.
It's so chaotic, and as much as I don't like it, I do really respect it. I've never heard anything that sounds like this before. Yeah, this album is making me really uncomfortable. And I don't really know why. There's just something about this that feels so odd. It might have something to do with the fact that this has been unreleased, like taken back. Maybe I just feel weird that I'm listening to something that I don't feel like I'm supposed to, but there's something about this album that just feels so odd. But I feel like it's intended again. This is making me feel really weird. This is a really weird listen. They definitely captured a very unique vibe with this one. Yeah, I've never heard an album before that makes me feel quite like this. It's interesting. I like legitimately don't know how to put it in words. It feels like I'm in a really weird fever dream right now. I don't know, like the songs themselves aren't that well, except for this one, they're not that weird, but they all just have such an odd aura. I really don't know how to say this. I feel like I'm doing an awful job at describing it. It feels like I'm in like the prettiest horror movie of all time right now. It just feels so surreal. This is strange. I feel like I'm doing such a bad job at putting this into words right now. Anyways, let's finish this song. I would like this song to be over now, thank you. I have no idea what just happened. I'm just gonna move on. This is Raise Me Up, Mississippi South. Again, this is creepy. I feel like I'm in a really pretty horror movie.
It's like you said, it's all been done before. I don't have to die pretty for them no more. It's like you said, it's all been done before. Right.
This is strange because These songs don't really sound very similar, but they still all feel like they belong together. I really feel like they captured something really interesting here, and I'm not quite sure what it is. This one also feels a little grunge inspired. So this is Pawn Shop Blues. I have heard this song before. I actually really love this song. It's one of her best pre-Born to Die songs that I've heard. I just love the lyrics and the storytelling in this one.
But I gotta get to and from where I come. In the name of higher consciousness, I let the best man I knew go. 'Cause it's nice to love and be loved, but it's better to know what you can know.
You know what's funny about this song? And I don't know if it's because I've heard it the most out of any of these, but it feels, don't get me wrong, I love this song. It almost feels like it doesn't really belong on this album. I think just because it is so much more simple and straightforward. Like, this song doesn't give me the eerie vibe that the other tracks do. It feels a little too nice or like sweet for this album.
No man can keep me together. Been broken since I was born.
But again, that might just be because I know it so well. Maybe if this was my first time hearing it, I would feel like it belonged more. This is Brite Lites. Already sounding interesting.
I look for you in magazines. I look for you in magazines. I look for you in magazines. I'm taking off my wedding ring. I gave you everything.
This is such a weird album, dude.
Give me the bright lights. Give me the bright lights. Give me the bright lights. I'm going back to Aberdeen. Yeah. Give me the bright lights. Give me the bright lights. Give me the bright lights. The film's fading, look at me.
I have no idea what to say about this track.
Look at me, yeah. Film is fading, look at me.
Again, this one feels so
Give me the bright
ominous.
lights. Give me the bright lights. Give me the bright lights.
It also feels,
Give me the bright
it feels simultaneously outdated, but also ahead of its time.
lights.
And I don't know how that's possible. That one was interesting. Huh. This is Put Me in a Movie.
Lights, camera, action. If he likes me, takes me home. Lights, camera, action.
What is that from?
If he likes me, takes me home.
It's from Honeymoon. Hold on, give me a minute. Okay, it's High by the Beach. I couldn't think while the music was playing. I was like, I know that line is from something. It's High by the Beach. Okay.
You like little girls, come on, know you like little girls. You can be my daddy. You can be my daddy.
This one's uncomfortable. Yep, this one's definitely uncomfy.
He didn't know he'd have this much fun. Lights, camera, action.
Okay, this album is definitely trying to be creepy. I was like, is it just me? Yeah, it's definitely trying to be creepy. I don't even know how to unpack this song, to be honest. I'm so at a loss for words right now with this album. It's so... I don't know what to say. Yeah, this one's genuinely disturbing. God, this makes me so uncomfortable. Okay, next is Smarty.
Do I make you feel like Christmas time? Put me in a party dress one time. Love me till I see the sunshine. Say you'll never leave me. Who has a face like Smarty does? Who has a voice like Smarty does? Who has a choice like Smarty does? Nobody. Nobody. Say I make you feel like Christmas time. So baby, honey, meet me and tell me that no one will love me better than you do. Better than you do.
I am so glad that I didn't have this album when I was a younger teenager. I feel like this would have done irreversible damage to my psyche. This song is very catchy. Again, I feel like this is going to be stuck in my head for a long time. I love her little spoken word bits in all her songs. She has such a pretty speaking voice. And singing voice, obviously.
Yours tonight, this little world is yours tonight. Say you'll never leave me. Say you'll never leave me.
Okay, and last we have Yayo. I have already heard this version of this song. And I must say, I prefer this version of the song. I think that the version on Paradise is a little bit overproduced. I like this one better. I just feel like her voice is a little too drowned out in the Paradise version. I think that this suits it a lot better.
You have to take.
And this song is also very unsettling. That's definitely a running theme throughout the album, with the exception of Pawn Shop Blues. I really do love this song. I can see why she re-recorded it later on. It's really great. I will say, I was worried that this album was going to be boring, and it definitely was not. So I can definitely give it that. Okay, so that is the album. Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm having a hard time expressing them. First of all, first things first, my favorite tracks are Oh Say Can You See, For K Part 2. I also really love Pawn Shop Blues and Yayo. I would say that I'll go with those four. So, it is really strange to me how none of these songs, or at least not many of these songs, sound similar. But yeah, that felt like a very cohesive experience still, somehow. I think that it's because despite those songs not sounding the same, they all have kind of the same vibe. I feel like I keep saying that word, but I don't have another way to say it. I just feel like Lana's whole aesthetic is so... Like, people have tried to imitate it before, but it's just so her, and it's so... I feel like she's the only one that can pull it off to this extent. It's just so Lana. So despite the fact that these songs sound a little different, they all just feel so Lana. I will say that the production on this album was not great. In some cases, I think it actually kind of added to the charm of the songs. In some cases, I think that it definitely hindered the songs. In a lot of cases, it made the songs feel pretty dated. I just feel like this album is so eerie, and it's just, I wasn't expecting for this album to have me so speechless. Again, I understand why she wouldn't be completely proud of this album. I don't think that it's her best by any means. I think it's far from it. But it's so unique. This is maybe one of the strangest album listening experiences that I can think of because I was just so speechless the whole time and I still don't really know how I feel about it. Like, I've definitely heard music that's a lot more experimental and out there than this before, but I wasn't expecting it from this, so it kind of just caught me off guard. I wish I could do a better job of explaining how I feel right now because I feel like I'm not doing a good job at it, but it feels like haunted dollhouse music. Like I don't know. I keep trying to find ways to describe it and none of them quite do it. I feel like this is the most specific reference ever and no one's going to get what I'm saying, but this album reminded me a lot of the movie Bunny Lake is Missing. It sounds like the soundtrack to that movie. I feel like the whole aesthetic of that movie matches this album so well. Again, I know that that's not really going to hit for most people, but it's what I kept thinking of the whole time I was listening for some reason. I feel like the vibes are just so similar between that movie and this album. I feel like that's like the most descriptive thing I can say about how I feel right now. I am really struggling right now. I'm trying to think of things to say and I have nothing. Please tell me how you feel about this album because I am like baffled right now. Again, I'm not like I don't know how much I like this album. I just find it so intriguing. Let's just say if I had heard this album and I didn't know anything else by Lana, I'd be like, you know what? I am not a huge fan of this, but I want to know more. This definitely feels like a Lana album. However, it feels like she was still trying to figure out what she was doing. It's just not quite there yet. I just feel like this is just a little incomplete or a little underdeveloped. I'm definitely glad I listened to this though, because I feel like I was missing out on an intriguing album, to say the least. It just gave me such a weird, like, pit in my stomach that just made me feel so strange. And you know what? Good art is art that makes you feel something, and that definitely made me feel something. So, there's that. Yeah, that was a strange little time I had listening to this. Anyways, yeah, let me know how you feel about this album. Also, like I said, I will go through and rank her whole discography at some point. I'm not sure exactly when, but I can do it now that I've heard this album. I am just really interested to see what people think of this album because I'm honestly kind of floored right now. Anyways, that's all from me. See ya. Have a great rest of your day.